Dear self, I know you're tired. I know there are days when your heart feels heavy and your mind runs weary, but listen, this is not where your story ends. This is not the chapter they'll remember you by. You were made for more. You were not created to shrink back or be defeated. Inside you, there is a fighter, certainly. Here's an 800-word expansion of the keynote. Acknowledge the battle within, written in an inspiring and reflective tone. No subheadings or conclusions, just a smooth, continuous flow. There is a battle that no one else can see. It wages deep within, often in the quiet hours when the world is still and no one is watching. It is the silent struggle of the heart and mind, the battle between hope and despair, courage and fear, faith and doubt. We don't talk about it often because it feels easier to hide behind a smile or a busy schedule, but if we are honest with ourselves, we know the truth. Inside each of us, there is a fight taking place, and this battle is real. It's the battle to believe that we are enough when every voice inside tries to convince us otherwise. It's the fight to keep moving forward when everything in us wants to give up. It's the war against the fear that tells us we are too broken to be whole, too late to begin again, or too small to make a difference. This is not a battle fought in distant lands or public arenas. It is fought in the soul, in the secret places where no one else can reach. And it is there that we must learn to stand. To acknowledge the battle within is not weakness, it is courage. Pretending we are fine when we are not doesn't make us strong. Admitting that we wrestle with doubt, that we sometimes question our worth, that fear has a grip on us, that takes a different kind of strength. The strength to be honest. The strength to say, yes, I'm fighting. Yes, I'm struggling, but I'm still here. And sometimes that's the bravest thing we can do, to still be here, still standing, still believing there's more for us on the other side of the struggle. Every one of us has wounds we carry that others cannot see. Some of us are haunted by the sting of rejection. Others wrestle with guilt over past mistakes, regrets that keep us up at night. Some battle anxiety that grips the heart and mind in ways that can't be explained. Some fight loneliness, feeling invisible even in a crowded room. And there are those whose greatest battle is with themselves, their reflection, their thoughts, their memories. The battlefield of the soul is vast, and no one escapes its call. But there is something powerful about calling the battle by its name. When you speak it aloud, when you say, I am afraid, or I feel lost, or I am hurting, you strip it of some of its power. Darkness thrives in silence. Fear gains strength in secrecy. But when you acknowledge what you are facing, you bring it into the light. And anything brought into the light can be overcome. You are not weak because you feel pain. You are not less worthy because you struggle. You are human. And this fight, as painful as it is part of becoming who you are meant to be. It is easy to look around and believe that everyone else has it figured out. To scroll through snapshots of smiles and celebrations and convince yourself that you are the only one barely holding it together. But that's not true. Everyone is fighting a battle you can't see. The person who seems confident may be questioning everything inside. The one who looks successful may be feeling hollow. We are all carrying burden. We are all fighting battles. And the greatest kindness we can offer ourselves is to stop pretending otherwise. There is also a temptation to let the battle define us, to believe that because we feel weak, we are weak. Because we are struggling, we are failing. But that is a lie. You can be in a battle and still be victorious. You can feel afraid and still be brave. You can have doubt in your heart and still take a step forward. The presence of the battle doesn't cancel out the possibility of triumph. In fact, it's often the fiercest battles that prepare us for the greatest victories. You do not have to wait until you feel strong to acknowledge your fight. You do not have to wait until you have conquered every fear to admit you are wrestling with them. It's okay to be in the middle of it and still choose to believe in yourself. It's okay to say, I'm not there yet, but I'm not giving up. Because the battle inside you does not end when the fear goes away. It ends when you decide that fear doesn't get to win today. The fight within is where real strength is forged. Not the kind of strength that boasts or brags, but the quiet, steady strength that says, I will not be moved. The kind of strength that wakes up each morning and says, I'm still here. The kind of strength that faces every doubt and fear with faith that whispers, this isn't the end of me. There will be days when the battle feels heavier than you can bear, days when you question if you have what it takes. And that is when you must remind yourself you have already come so far. You have already won fights that others never even saw. You have already endured storms that should have broken you, but here you are, still breathing, still standing. Acknowledging the battle within is not about giving up. It's about giving yourself permission to be real, to be honest, to say, this is hard. And then with courage to add, but I am stronger. You are stronger than you feel, braver than you believe. And this battle within you, it's not the end of your story. It's the beginning of something greater. There is something extraordinary about the power of your words. Long before victory becomes reality, it begins with a declaration. Not a whisper, not a timid hope, but a bold, unwavering statement that says, I will win. These words are not spoken because you have already crossed the finish line or because everything in your life is perfect. No, they are spoken in the middle of the storm, in the middle of uncertainty, in the middle of doubt. That's when the words matter most. Because when you declare victory before you see it, you are choosing to believe in what is possible, not just what is visible. Many people wait to celebrate until the evidence of success is laid out in front of them. They wait for circumstances to change, for people to cheer them on, for life to confirm that they're going to make it. But the truth is, if you wait for proof before you believe, you'll always be late to your own victory. The winners, the overcomers, the people who rise above the rest, they don't wait to see it before they say it. They speak life into their future. They call themselves victorious before they ever taste triumph. They make a promise to themselves and to their destiny, I will win. And they hold that promise like a torch, lighting the way through every dark night. When you speak victory in advance, something powerful begins to happen inside of you. Your mind starts to shift, your heart starts to align with a new purpose. Your actions begin to follow the words you've spoken, and before you know it, you are living in agreement with the victory you declared long before it arrived. It's not magic, it's not luck, it's faith in action. And faith has the power to move mountains. Faith has the power to rewrite a future that seemed impossible. But faith always begins with a word. You might be standing in the middle of a situation that looks nothing like victory. You might be surrounded by failure, disappointment, and closed doors. You might feel like giving up would be easier than pressing on. But this is the moment where your voice matters the most. This is the moment to speak what you believe, not what you see. To say, I will rise again. I will overcome this. I will win, even when your knees are shaking. Even when your heart is heavy, you speak it anyway, because the words you release today are the seeds of the victory you will harvest tomorrow. People may look at you and think you're foolish for declaring victory when everything looks like defeat. Let them think it. People may not understand your courage to believe in something you can't yet see. That's okay. They don't have to understand it. This promise is between you and your purpose. This commitment is between you and your Creator. And you don't need approval to walk in the direction of your calling. You only need belief, a deep, unshakable belief that your future is brighter than your present, that your story isn't over, that something greater is still ahead. When you declare victory before it happens, you are making a decision about who you are. You are deciding that you are not defined by your circumstances. You are not limited by your past. You are not held hostage by fear. You are more, you are stronger than the voices that try to hold you back. You are braver than the doubts that whisper in the dark, and you are already victorious, not because the battle is easy, but because you have already chosen to win it. There is a voice inside you that has been silent for too long. The voice that dreams, the voice that believes, the voice that dares to say, I can do this. That voice deserves to be heard again. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Don't wait until you have all the answers. Don't wait for someone else to confirm what you already know deep down. Speak now, declare victory today, make a promise to yourself that you will not break, and then show up every day like someone who intends to keep it. Every time you declare victory in advance, you strengthen your spirit, you build endurance, you become the person who refuses to settle for less than what they were made for, and you teach your heart to hope again. Hope is a powerful thing. It fuels perseverance, it sparks courage, and it reminds you that even in the hardest moments, you have a choice to give up or to go on. Declare victory, and you will find the strength to go on. You may not see how it will all come together. You may not know how the pieces will fit, but you don't have to know. You just have to believe. You just have to open your mouth and speak the words that shape your destiny. I will win. Say it again. Say it like you believe it. Say it until it becomes the truth you live by, because every time you say it, you are moving one step closer to making it real. This is how victory begins, not with applause, not with celebration, but with a quiet, powerful declaration in your own heart, a promise made in the silence before the breakthrough. Speak your promise today. Declare your victory before it happens, and then watch as the world begins to catch up with the words you've already spoken. There will come a time when your strength runs out, not because you are weak, but because you are human. Even the strongest people have moments when the weight they carry becomes too much. Even the most courageous souls feel fear creeping in when the road ahead looks uncertain. It doesn't matter how determined you are, how disciplined or prepared. There will be days when you feel like you have nothing left to give. Your hands will tremble, your knees will buckle, your heart will grow tired. And that's when you need something greater than yourself to hold on to. That's when you lean on faith. Faith is not about pretending that everything is fine when it isn't. It's not about ignoring the struggle or denying the pain. Faith is about believing in what you cannot yet see. It's about trusting that there is a purpose for the journey, even when the path seems unclear. Faith is a quiet confidence that tells you there is more ahead, even if you can't yet feel it in your hands or see it with your eyes. And when your strength begins to waver, faith steps in and becomes the strength you no longer have. There are moments in life when the mountain is too steep, the valley too dark, and the burden too heavy. You tell yourself to keep going, but your body says you can't. You try to stay positive, but your mind is clouded with doubt. You want to believe things will get better, but all you see is another setback. It is in these moments, not when you are strong, but when you are weak, that faith becomes your lifeline. You lean on it because you have no other choice, and you discover that it's been there all along, steady and unshaken. Human strength has limits. It can only carry you so far. It can get you through the first round of battles, maybe even the second or third, but eventually it will fade. Muscles grow tired. Willpower weakens. The heart grows weary. But faith is limitless. It doesn't wear out and it doesn't run dry. Faith taps into something beyond human understanding, a power greater than your own. And when you lean into it, when you surrender your weakness to something higher, you find yourself lifted in ways you can't explain. There's a certain kind of peace that comes from knowing you don't have to do it all on your own. You don't have to have all the answers. You don't have to be strong every second of every day. You can let go of the pressure to perform, to impress, to hold everything together. Faith reminds you that you are held, even when you can't hold yourself up. That there's a hand guiding you, a light leading you, and a promise carrying you through what feels impossible. Faith doesn't always remove the struggle, but it doesn't always erase the pain, but it changes you in the middle of it. It gives you a reason to keep going. It whispers hope into the silence. It tells you that you are not forgotten, not abandoned, not alone. And sometimes knowing you're not alone is enough to keep moving forward. Sometimes knowing there is a plan greater than your present pain gives you the courage to stand back up and take one more step. There are days when you will feel empty, when you've given everything you have and there is nothing left. That's when faith fills you, not with noise or distraction, but with quiet strength, the kind of strength that shows up in the middle of the night when no one else can. The kind of strength that wraps around your heart and says, rest here for a while. I've got you. You don't have to be perfect to lean on faith. You don't have to have it all figured out. You just have to be willing to trust in something greater, to believe that there's a reason you've made it this far and that you will be carried the rest of the way. People will tell you to be strong, and that's a good thing. But when your strength is gone and you have nothing left to stand on, let faith be your foundation. Lean on it like a solid rock that won't move no matter how hard the winds blow. When your strength wavers, faith becomes the bridge between where you are and where you need to go. It fills the gap when your ability runs out. It is not weakness to lean on faith, it is wisdom. Because faith can carry what human strength cannot. And somewhere down the road, you'll look back and realize it wasn't your power that got you through. It wasn't your brilliance or your effort alone. It was faith. Faith in a higher power, faith in purpose, faith that no matter how dark the night, morning would come, and it did, not because you never wavered, but because you trusted even when you did. Faith is what holds you steady when everything else falls apart. It is what lifts you when you can no longer lift yourself. Lean on faith when your strength wavers. Lean hard. Let it steady your hands, calm your heart, and renew your mind. You don't have to be strong all the time, but you do have to believe that even when you are weak, you are never alone. And in that belief, you will find new strength you never knew you had. So stand tall, wipe the tears from your face, lift your chin, look your future in the eye, and say these words out loud. I will win. I promise. And with that promise, walk forward, not in fear, but in faith, not in doubt, but in destiny. Your time has come. Your victory is certain. I will win. I promise.